Dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely 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 dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely
They are right, by the way.
Let's get started.
Okay, let us get started here. Welcome into another episode of Live with Chris's World. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being tuned in. This show airing on X, Rumble, and YouTube every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is Thursday, February 13th, and I appreciate everybody for watching. Happy Valentine's Day out there. And we got a really good show for you. But before I start with the rundown, let's quickly address that intro video. This is a threat to our democracy, a threat to our democracy. Of course, they're referring to Doge and Elon Musk and what Donald Trump is doing. But the real threat to our democracy, though, the real threat is the waste, fraud, and abuse that this government has been doing for decades. Elon Musk and Doge just now uncovering it, and you have the Democrats squirming and flopping like a fish out of water. They don't know what to do. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? Do you think perhaps if you were to follow the money backwards, do you think maybe, just maybe, this is affecting their personal pocketbooks, their personal wallets? Why else would you be this emotional, right? Because here's the deal. Eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse is a bipartisan issue. This is something that is a net positive to every single American. But yet, there are some out there on the left who are so blinded by party loyalty that they can't see what's in front of them. Yesterday, you had that hearing happen where Democrats literally called, and God bless him, but a blind guy to the stand to essentially advocate for there not being waste, fraud, and abuse. The blind asking the blind for help. It's not funny. It's not a joke. But it's almost like they're trolling us when they do shit like that. So anyway, look, great show for you. Live with Chris's World every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on X, Rumble, and now YouTube as well. We got two special guests joining us tonight. For the first one, we will have Greg from the Generation Mars podcast. Great guy, really close friend of the program. He's got an awesome show. We're going to talk a little bit about RFK, Tulsi Gabbard, Kash Patel. After that, we'll have on Jason Stands for Truth, and we'll kind of just go over. Trump has had a very, very successful week. So Jason and I will cover a little bit of the highlights in regards to everything Trump and the administration has accomplished this week, because as much as we want to point the finger at the left, we do have to get over it a little bit, right? Because we have a lot of good America first things happening in the world right now. And it's more important to highlight that than to point our fingers at the left, who is just screaming and begging for attention. So I don't want to give them too much oxygen tonight, but we will talk a little bit about that. So here's a fun fact before we get into the rundown. Here is a fun fact that I saw just coming on, but before coming on the show. And I want to share this with you guys. So The Washington, D.C. searches for the word lawyer have increased 400% just in the past month and a half alone. Lawyer, why? You don't happen to think that there's that much fraud going on in D.C. where they know shit has hit the fan for them, where they're going to need legal counsel. You don't think that doesn't... Does that connect? Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But what we do know for sure is that the search term lawyer is up 400% in Washington, D.C. That's an interesting little tidbit. And I thought you guys would enjoy that there. Not too much to say about it. I mean, hey, you know what? Maybe maybe it's just a coincidence. I don't have the answers. I'm just a guy who looks at numbers and talks, and puts it out there. Look, this is what's happening. It's, if you ask them, just another coincidence. Really, no big deal. Why would you even be concerned, is what they would say. I don't know. A couple other quick things just before we do get started here, because I saw these before or after, rather, I planned the show. So I just wanted to touch on them real quick because this is some breaking stuff. NYPD, there are anti-ICE protests happening in New York City. NYPD and ICE agents are making arrests at these protests. Tom Homan just got done meeting with Mayor Eric Adams of New York City. And we have arrests being made in New York City, finally, in regards to deportation efforts and the illegals who are wasting your taxpayer dollars. Look, we say the same thing every night. We're not going to come on here gung-ho and say that every single one of them is a murderer, drug dealer, or rapist. A lot of them are. I'm not going to say every one of them is. Of course not. That would be irrational for me to say. However, that doesn't mean that you didn't commit a crime coming here illegally. You didn't come through the ports of entry. You came through illegally. That's a crime. You're a criminal. Sayonara. Sayonara, baby. And that's it. Simple. Very, very simple. Now, where you run into conflict is when these local governments want to go with Tom Homan. And I'll tell you what, you could look at Governor Murphy in New Jersey, man. He says just the last week that he's housing an illegal in his house. He admitted to that. Next day, Homan goes, we're looking into that. Eric Adams already has a bunch of legal trouble. It would probably be wise for him to not go against what this administration is trying to do. But hey, I'm just a guy with a Twitter show. What do I know? Anyway, I don't know if I showed this already, but you got these arrests happening in New York City. It's a beautiful thing indeed it is. So what we're going to talk about real quick before we bring on Greg, we're going to talk about Reuters being paid by the government, along with some other media outlets. All these leftist organizations, watch them. They're going to crumble and diminish to zero, simply because they don't have federal funding. What's weird is we're starting to find out the millions of dollars that was being funneled to Politico and other organizations, the AP. These organizations, I don't know, can they breathe without the federal funding? Because you just saw Politico for the first time missed a payroll. What was that, last week or 2 weeks ago? Last week, I believe. And you hadn't seen that happen before, but that happened because of the gravy train, right? The gravy train was cut off. Doge cancels more DEI contracts. Congressman Robert Garcia is making himself look like a damn fool. And then we're going to talk about RFK, Tulsi Gabbard, Kash Patel, Mitch McConnell. We will talk with Greg about those topics. We'll get into Trump, Russia, Ukraine a little bit. And then at the end, we'll have Jason Stands for Truth on to just discuss all of the good things that are happening around the Trump administration right now, because there is a lot of good stuff and a lot of great things to highlight and talk about. So thank you for being here live with Chris's World every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. This show begins right now. All right, so let's talk about this here. Reuters was given $9 million by the Department of Defense for large-scale deception. Large-scale deception. Again, something that I'm not surprised about. We talked about this just before the transition there. The issue here that you're starting to see with all these left-wing media outlets is that can they actually produce cash flow enough to cover expenses within a pay period? It's not looking like it because Politico, they just missed payroll last week. Why do you think that is? Why do you think all of these left-wing organizations need money funneled to them by the government, and without that money being funneled to them, they're literally going to go out of business? Why do you think that is? It's pretty simple. Because MSNBC and CNN are the kingpins of impression and viewership on the left. Okay, there's not going to be a newsletter. There's not going to be a media outlet, a website, an organization that should get more touches in a 24-hour period than either one of those entities. We have covered day in and day out on this show the viewership numbers and the rapid descent, the decline that we have seen within the organizations of CNN and MSNBC. So much so that Comcast wants to sell MSNBC, CNN, massive layoffs. So that's the proof in the pudding. Nobody's watching left-wing hot garbage. Literally 5% of the country at best. Maybe 6, I don't know. But not many people. I mean, you've got primetime shows on CNN and MSNBC. They're getting beaten by shows on YouTube, X, and Rumble. So, in other words, it's very believable to think that these left-wing media organizations like Politico can't survive without fraudulent funding from the government like you've seen. It's a sad thing, but what I'm saying, I don't believe it's really debatable at all. Because if you're going to see these organizations go under, then that's the mathematical equation that I just gave to you. There's no need to beat around Bush, talk about, like, that's what happened. Like, if nobody's watching CNN and MSNBC, obviously nobody's subscribing to these left-wing media organizations. The fuck? Now, if CNN and MSNBC were blowing it out of the water, there's this huge demand for left-wing craziness, then maybe I'd be like, yeah, anybody could do, right? I mean, shit. But that's not the case. So, a little more on that, though. Excuse me. And they're not the only ones. The Associated Press receiving over $52 million of government money. $52 million. The Associated Propaganda, says Elon Musk. Our taxpayer dollars literally went into propaganda going against our beliefs. What we knew was morally and fundamentally sound. Our taxpayer dollars was fighting against us. Hence, another reason why Democrats are flipping the shit right now. Because all these fraudulent transactions is how they maintained that little bit of control that they had. They always knew their ideas sucked and that they had to manipulate the system to even get any type of lead. But the truth is in the pudding now. Donald Trump is calling for a refund, although I don't think he'll get it. Donald Trump saying, why was Politico paid millions of dollars for nothing? Buying the press, pay back the money to the taxpayers. How much has the failing New York Times been paid? Is this the money that is keeping it open? They are buying the press. The left has bought the press. But we knew it. We always knew it. That is why we won the election. Do you know why? Because conservatives knew, okay, let's not fight a losing battle. Just because you lose a battle doesn't mean you lose a war. We'll win this war. Let's take the L on the legacy media battle. And we know most of the eyeballs really aren't there anyway. They're on the phone and on the internet. So let's take the L for the TV screen for now. And the conservative voices started to exist and become very relatable, popular online through YouTube, through Rumble, through X, through TikTok, Instagram. Next thing you know, holy shit, this is the way of the future. All the conservative voices were here first. And then you see the Don Lemons try to come over. It just doesn't jive. It misses. It doesn't land. Because liberal content sucks. So, and that's not it, too, because there's so much government waste. It doesn't end there. It gets actually a lot more damning than that. Check this out coming out of the Pentagon. The Pentagon hasn't ever passed an audit. Ever. Never. Not once, ever. Never. Why do you think? Well, probably because they're paying $1,300 per cup of coffee, an 8,000% markup on soap dispensers. Those is exposing insane Pentagon waste, including $1,300 cups of coffee and soap dispensers marked up 8,000%. With an $850 billion budget, the Pentagon is drowning in fraud and bloated contracts. And Trump says billions in waste will be slashed. $1,300 for a cup of coffee? There better be a fucking nugget of gold at the bottom. Are you kidding me? We're slashing the waste. Ultimately, this comes down to one thing. Oh, a couple of things, actually. To be quite frank, I've got something actually here that could sum up really how most Americans are feeling right now. If I could find it. But it doesn't look like I can. Hold on. Let me check one more time because this was actually really good. Oh, I got it. Most Americans, I think, feel this way. Deport it, drill it, ditch it, and drain it. We're done. We're done with the bullshit. We always knew this level of corruption existed. We've been talking about it for years. And now it's being proven. $2 million for lesbians in Syria? Why the fuck not? We have been scammed. What is the definition of a scam? Buying or paying into something and not getting the product or service that you receive. Lesbians in Syria have been getting millions of dollars. Meanwhile, I get a new car and I got to dodge potholes on my way to work. Why do you think people are pissed? But it's all coming to an end. All of that bullshit. See, that's the beautiful side of all this. We won. We fucking won, man. We did. Thanks to people like you. Thanks to people like me. All of us together did this. Not giving up. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. When we return, we're going to bring in Greg, host of the Generation Mars podcast. This is a fantastic guy, great patriot, and he hosts a kick-ass show. If you've never watched the Generation Mars podcast live on Wednesday nights, you got to, because it is very entertaining and educational. You're going to love this man. I promise you that. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Joe Biden. Joe Biden pardons Anthony Fauci, Mark Milley, J6 committee members, including Liz Cheney. Check this out. This is what I'm reading here. What a disgrace. Here we have, so let's read this post coming from Colin Rugg. 20 minutes before leaving office, while he was in the rotunda at the Capitol, President Biden pardoned his family. His last act as president. This is his last act as president. Why do you need to pardon people if they did nothing wrong? The Biden crime family was never just a slogan, it's the truth. Again, I want to give Colin Rugg credit, post coming from Colin Rugg. Absolutely true. Here is who avoids justice thanks to Biden. James Biden, Sarah Jones Biden, Valerie Biden Owen, John T. Owen, Francis Biden, Dr. Anthony Fauci, General Mark Milley, Liz Cheney, Adam Schiff, Adam Kinzinger, other members and staff of the J6 committee. Guys, how it's blatant. These people still need to be investigated, even if... What's up, everyone? First and foremost, thank you so much for tuning in to another live episode of Live with Chris's World. And I want to let you all know about a new exciting opportunity that we have for the audience. So if you're a patriot who's looking to get on camera and be on a podcast, well, here at Live with Chris's World, we want to give you that opportunity. So look, at the end of the day, there's nothing more important than having the conversations and talking about the issues. So I am personally extending an invitation to any patriot listening to this right now that wants to come share their thoughts, their takes, their opinion on a political current event on Live with Chris's World. All you got to do is follow me, shoot me a DM, a direct message, and I'll be sure to get back to you.
If you smell what The Rock is cooking.
You're tuned in to Chris's World, a daily podcast covering the controversial topics of today through a conservative, patriotic lens. Tune in every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for Chris's World.
Yes. Oh. The team that is saving America is taking shape. We had, yes. Left hand on the Bible, right hand up. I believe that's how it goes, right? They say, I do solemnly swear. RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, sworn in today. Kash Patel gets through committee. We're going to have the Senate vote on Kash Patel. He'll get through. The team, the Avengers, has come together. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing indeed. We're going to bring in Greg from the Generation Mars podcast to talk about this a little bit more. Great guy coming up, Greg from the Generation Mars podcast. My friend. Well, let me tell you something, okay? Before I introduce you or anything like that, I just want your quick opinion. Right on.
Yeah, let's do it. What's up?
What an upgrade, huh?
You don't miss the Rear Admiral Richard Levine?
Oh, come on, Greg.
And all those chins, more chins than a Chinese telephone book. Look at that.
One thing I love about you, man, you come in with these vibes. You always got the...
I'm jumping, man. I'm ready to go.
I know. It's really good shit.
What's in my drink?
Mars podcast, hell of a program that you host on Wednesday nights. Tell everybody about it who might not be familiar with your work, because they should be, and let's point them in the right direction. So lay it on us.
Okay, so I'm changing up my show a little bit. I'm trying to figure out a good time slot. Okay, I was doing Wednesday, and I picked up another gig on Wednesday, so I'm gonna have to switch my night. So I'm gonna start broadcasting on Thursday, and that's why I wanted to come here on Chris's World on Thursday, because I'm thinking Thursday 6 p.m. right after your show. I'll throw my stuff out, and then if anyone wants to come check out Generation Mars podcast at 6 p.m. Pacific time, which is 9 p.m. Eastern time, and I'm gonna be live streaming on Thursday, starting. Let me look at my calendar.
Well, this is exciting stuff, Greg, because
Yeah.
guys, if you haven't ever, and I'm sure already in the beginning moments of this conversation, you're like, okay, this guy seems legit setup, sound, mic, camera, seems like he knows what he's talking about. You're probably interested already. If you've never watched an episode of the Generation Mars podcast, make sure you are following him on X, and then you can find all of his other stuff that way. His Rumble's there, everything's easy. Get to his X, and you can find everything else. But Greg, as you were saying, when are you starting up?
Okay, so I'm thinking Thursday, 6 p.m. on February 27th. I'm going to be starting that up because I picked up another gig on Wednesday evenings over at the radio station, and so I can't do my show anymore. So I'm gonna have to.
You put yours on the radio out there?
No, I'm not on the radio. I'm just a producer on a local radio station out here, and then I jump on as a co-host every now and then. It's out. It's in Needles, California. It's like a little town out here, and it's a radio station, 92.9 FM. It's called KTOX, all conservative talk. And so I'm a
that's really good stuff. It's a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing indeed.
A lot of free speech out here.
Is that one of the ones that Soros bought? You know how he bought like all those?
No. He does not have. This is not part of a network that he picked up, so it's still able to be free from politics of the left. Let's just say
what is that? What is that? Is that the FCC that does radio?
Yeah, so FCC is the federal commission, and they're the ones that have federal over the airwaves, basically.
Right.
You have to purchase an airwave or a frequency to broadcast, and so they're the ones that regulate it, just like they regulate the FAA regulates the airlines, things like that. Same thing, same concept.
It's wild that they let something like that go through when you think about it. But neither here nor there. Greg, I want to talk to you about RFK, Tulsi Gabbard, Kash Patel. I want to play this clip real quick for everybody. After RFK Jr. got sworn in, this is the message that he said. And then, Greg, I'd love your reaction right after. It's only about a minute long.
Right. 20 years, I've gotten up every morning on my knees and prayed that God would put me in a position where I can end the childhood chronic disease epidemic in this country. On August 23rd of last year, God sent me President Trump. All right. And he gave me he's now given me, he's kept every promise that he's made to me. He's kept his word in every account and gone way beyond it. I'm so grateful to you, Mr. President. A lot of people told me that I couldn't trust President Trump. I better get it in writing. And we did a handshake, and everything that he told me he was going to do, he has done. Right.
That right there. That is a Democrat. That is a Kennedy.
Yes.
Who is talking that way about a Republican, Donald Trump, nonetheless. What more do you need? Greg, your thoughts on this?
Well, I like him a lot, and I think he's going to make things healthy again. That's my RFK impersonation for anyone. No, I think it's great. I watched the whole RFK Jr. Senate confirmation stuff from the very beginning. It was probably the most eye-opening of all of them because you have here a Kennedy. I mean, Kennedys are the ones that established the Democrat Party towards the end of the 20th century with, all the Kennedys from John to Robert to Senator Kennedy. I forget his name. What's his name again? Anyways.
Well, I think JFK Jr. JFK Jr. was running himself. Oh, you're talking about Kennedy, the Senator Kennedy,
yeah,
the
Republican
Senator.
I can't think it was there. Robert. No, that's not Robert. That's Robert. But anyways, they're the ones that pretty much were holding until Obama came along. And then when Obama came along, and then of course, he took the mantle for the Democrat Party. So to see Democrat senators like just lose it over Kennedy in his nomination for the health department, you're like, what is this? especially like Elizabeth.
John Kennedy from Louisiana.
Yeah. No, he's different. He's not of the Kennedy lineage.
Oh, is he not? Oh, I'm thinking of old Louisiana John Kennedy is who I'm thinking.
No, this is the Massachusetts
right. I'm
senator.
Fucked up now with the last name. There's too many damn Kennedys in politics.
But the current Kennedy senator in Louisiana is not of the Kennedy lineage. He's actually
the young
a
guy,
Republican.
right?
No, he's a Republican, and he's the one that's always cracking the jokes. He's the one that made that one joke about Epstein. What's drywall, Christmas lights. And
I got you. You're talking about, yeah.
None of them hang themselves. Anyways, so Elizabeth Warren was Pocahontas, as we call her so lovingly. She's the one that lost it the most, and that was interesting because she started to like, "Are you going to promise us that you're not going to that you're not going to go after the vaccine companies?" And he's all, "Are you saying that I'm not going to sue the pharmaceutical? That's what you want me to say?" And of course, she just lost it on him, and she went all full on, Pocahontas Indian style like this. Feather not dot. Yeah, she know like Bobby Kennedy. She think she wants scalp a white man with scratchy throat.
She's
so anyways. She want to make kids not she want to make kids look like fat totem pole. That's my other Indian joke. Anyways,
I mean, it really is astonishing to see the level of pushback from these Democrat senators as we did through the confirmation hearings.
It's crazy. Why? This is
and then to see Bernie Sanders as one of the top people taking money from Big Pharma, and then to cover it up in a way where he got so fired up and clearly emotional.
I knew you were gonna bring this up just to let you know. Hey, none of the pharmaceuticals donated to my campaign. Meanwhile, it was like, I forget, like $5 million that they donated to this in a super PAC to his campaign. Such a liar, Bernie. Bros, you got
ridiculous. I mean, here he is. Here's Bernie right here. So here he is this evening.
Yep. Bastard.
Will the president abolish the Department of Education?
What is going on in this country, not only with education, but with other institutions, is the president is operating in a very authoritarian, illegal, and unconstitutional way. If they want changes in the Department of Education, they want to abolish the Department of Education, fine, come to Congress. That is the process. That is what our Constitution is about. We have three separate branches of government: the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary. We are not and cannot and must not move to all power in one branch.
Senator, does that mean you're worried about oversight for something like what Father activities here? Like, once he's confirmed,
look at him.
Are you concerned that you won't have that?
I am concerned that there is a real look. It is a little bit weird, just a little bit.
The thing is this.
He's a little bit weird.
Oh, no doubt about it. It's funny how they always try to use weird against Republicans, but yet they're the ones with blue hair.
Yeah.
The meltdown is simply just because they understand that there's about to be repercussions for their actions, right? I mean, this is pretty simple to put together, no?
No, I agree. I disagree with everything in his statement except that part that says, we do have three branches of power, and then they have their parameters of that power, and that's what gives us a checks and balance. However, he forgot to mention that he's worried about his power. That's he don't care about Congress or the judicial power, or he doesn't care about any of that. He just cares about him losing his power, and that's the issue. And, he's such a sap. I think it's weird. I think it's ridiculous. I think I need to go because I need to take my nap.
So it's bad, and I want to get into Mitch McConnell a little bit too. But before we touch up on Mitch McConnell, Tulsi Gabbard, Tulsi Gabbard getting in as well. Now this is interesting. If I could find this very quickly, here it is. Check this out. So Tulsi Gabbard was once under surveillance by the intelligence community under Biden. Now she is in charge of intel. I mean, they literally had her on a watch list.
Yes, it was ridiculous. It was weaponized. So weaponized.
I mean, and that's the thing, right? With what justification would you be able to put Tulsi Gabbard on a watch list? Like how? Why? What's the real reason?
She's an active military, high-ranking officer, right? She was a former congressperson. I mean, how much she has a security clearance more than you and I, but we're not on the active flying list. I know where I think we would ever be. The only reason they put her on the active flying list was because she gave pushback to their little darling, which was Kamala Harris. And they saw that, and they saw, Tulsi's not the one that we're picking, so we better quiet her up. And so that's why they put her on that. That's it. That's
It's another classic case of, I hate to call it revenge, but revenge, right? Because Tulsi Gabbard is somebody who ran for president as a Democrat.
Yep.
She was somebody who endorsed Bernie Sanders.
Oh, that's another story too.
Right. And then Bernie Sanders didn't vote her in. And Bernie Sanders, she didn't get Bernie's vote.
Did you
How
see?
funny is that?
Have you seen the video where he did it on the sly when he went to vote in the Senate for her, or not
No,
for
I
her?
didn't see it. I didn't see it.
He totally he's nowhere to be found. And all of a sudden, when he knows the S's are coming up, and they're going to say Senator Sanders from Vermont, and he all of a sudden he comes in stage right, crosses the desk like nothing's happening, like he's going to go pick up a tissue at the end of the desk, goes and picks up the tissue, wipes that big schnauzer of his with some snot in it, and then he just turns to them and just says no, and then he just walks out the room, and that's it. Dirty, 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 sneaky snake in the grass.
As if people weren't going to see it.
Yeah, no, they got it all on camera, baby. We know you a shill.
That's funny.
Are you
So
telling
Mitch
me I don't
McConnell was a no vote for pretty much everybody that Donald Trump put up. I think if you voted for Donald Trump and you know a little bit about politics, you know who Mitch McConnell is, you know the history between Mitch McConnell and Donald Trump, that's enough to be like, okay, this guy should not be in Congress. But to further that point, you see these medical episodes, the multiple freeze ups, at least two big ones. And then you see he's in a wheelchair.
Yep.
So here's what Donald Trump has to say about Mitch McConnell and the no votes that he's been giving to Trump's nominees.
RFK Jr. as the next health secretary, citing conspiracy theories. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I feel sorry for Mitch. And I was one of the people that he wanted to go to the end, and he wanted to stay leader. He's not equipped mentally. He wasn't equipped 10 years ago mentally, in my opinion. He'd let the Republican Party go to hell. If I didn't come along, the Republican Party wouldn't even exist right now. Mitch McConnell never really had it. He had an ability to raise money because of his position as leader, which anybody could do. You could do it even. And that's saying a lot. But
wait a second. Was that Caitlin who asked the question?
Probably was.
Caitlin Collins? And that's saying a lot, he says. That's
saying a lot.
So Mitch McConnell, obviously very salty in a no vote on the nominees put up by Trump. For me, this is just a big advertisement for term limits. Greg, we talk a lot about rooting out the deep state, rooting out the establishment, quotes, right? Whatever that might be is a different conversation. But for what we all know it to be, how do you do that? Where do you start? A good place to start is going to be term limits.
Right.
Another good place to start is going to be transparency through spending, i.e. single subject spending bills. And then I guess this third layer is what we've seen happen so far, and it's accountability or auditing of the current spending. Just your overriding thoughts on everything that we're seeing in regards to the fraud, USAID, FEMA, and so on.
Well, I think of that ancient proverbial saying that says, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And so that's all we can do. So I like the enthusiasm of Elon Musk, or how Maxine Water calls him Elon Musk. I love the enthusiasm he's bringing to these so-called audits, are just kind of weeding out the extra that the taxpayer money is being spent. That is awesome, because it's a twofold on that. Not only are you coming down to the corruptness that we've been duped for a long time and the incompetency that we've been duped into for a long time too as taxpayers. But also too, you bring to surface the bad actors. Because if anyone's complaining about something as harmless as putting money towards the deficit, putting money towards, bringing us out of that $30 trillion deficit that we have in the United States and saving the taxpayer money, that's like complaining if they're giving you fresh water. Oh, it's not in the Constitution that you give me fresh water, so it's a constitutional crisis now.
They're blinded by party loyalty and Trump/Musk derangement syndrome.
Yeah, but I'm thinking it's the bad actors. I don't think this is TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. I just think this is the bad actors. It's like there's another old proverbial saying: if you throw a rock into a pack of wild dogs, the one that whelps is the one that gets hit. And so the ones that are whelping, those are the ones that got hit.
That are getting hit. Right.
Maxine, Adam Schiff, Nancy. Well, actually, Nancy Pelosi hasn't been out and about. Have you noticed that?
Well, I think that Nancy Pelosi's reputation has become so damaged, and here's why I'll say this. Yeah. She's never had a good reputation in the Republican Party as far as the last decade and a half goes. So that's okay. That's going to be dead. On the right, you've got nobody. On the left, she could very easily be the number one person to blame for the loss of the Democrat Party in November. Yeah. If you're a Democrat and somebody who is very blinded and delusional, if you're one of those people, I could see a world where you point the finger at Nancy Pelosi and you say, what the hell? 12 million people voted for Biden, and you decided to replace him with a fucking Indian black lady, and nobody could confirm it. She says she works at McDonald's. That comes out as a lie. What did you do to us? You set us up for failure. If you're a Democrat, and these are people who clearly don't have a sense of reality, that could be a scapegoat for you. So I think Nancy Pelosi, the reason we haven't seen her as much, and we did see her a little bit last week and then with the walkers, but I think she's been under a rock because her reputation is so badly damaged in a bipartisan way, Greg.
I like that 2 cane joke you made about it.
She had 2 canes. 2 canes.
2 cane. Yeah. That was funny. And I'm not
bad, man.
This Kamala thing, black or Indian. You know what she is? She's multiracial, like so many of us Americans are. And that's all she is. Don't try to make it. I hate when they try to make it.
You know what, Greg? And that's okay too.
There's nothing. Most of us are triracial. If you have ancestry in the United States for the last 4 generations, more than likely you probably have 3 different kind of races running through you right now, including Native American, like Pocahontas. So
and it's when you try to cover it up and play identity politics, that's when people call you out on it.
So Mitch McConnell, let me just say this real quick. So he was the only Republican that voted no for Tulsi, and then also too for RFK. He voted no for that. And he says he's going to vote no for Kash Patel. But here's the thing about him and his comments about RFK Jr., Bobby Kennedy. Trump won Kentucky, right? He won Kentucky by a huge, I think it was 31 points or something. He won
margin.
Kentucky. Big margin. And to top it off, Kentucky is the 9th state to ban mRNA shots. So if he's worried about this whole, vaccine issue that he has with RFK, it doesn't make sense to what his constituents want. And when you're out there, when you're a senator or a congressional member, who are you representing?
Your people. And this is why
sometimes you got to put down your political opinion.
I hope he gets primaried whenever he's up for it.
That's a constitutional crisis.
Yeah, for real. I just can't believe that people would actually vote that damn fool in again after what we've seen in the past just 2 years alone.
Yeah.
There's just no way. I don't know. Well, anyway, Greg, look, man, great having you on here tonight. I appreciate you. I value your time a lot. I know you're a busy guy. You got a lot of stuff going on. So it's always a pleasure to have you on Live with Chris's World. One more time for anybody who might have missed it, visit at Gen Mars Podcast, the Generation Mars Podcast on X. From here, you can locate his Rumble via the link in the bio. Very easy to find. Start with X, hit that follow button, head over to Rumble, hit that follow button. He's got a great show. Greg, I'll let you kind of finish it off there.
Yeah, so Thursday, February 27th, I'm coming back, and it's going to be at 6 p.m. Pacific time, which is 9 p.m. Eastern time. And then we'll just be covering news events. I got videos and clips and stuff. We'll do commentary, do analysis on that. I like to talk about a lot of constitutional stuff, and I definitely like to ridicule the left's bad ideas. And I do that over and over again because they're a bunch of libtards, to be honest with you.
There's a lot of bad ideas going around.
Bad ideas. The bad ideas that'll get you killed. Those are the kind of ideas that they look at the fires in LA. All right. All right. See anything more?
For real. Yeah.
Anyways.
All right, Greg, great having you on. Everybody, make sure you are following the Generation Mars podcast on X at Generation Mars on
Rumble. I'm out.
Awesome, guys. Greg, thank you very much for being here, my friend.
All right, man.
Later. Great dude. Awesome having Greg on. A lot of fun. He brings the good vibes. You feel that when he's on here. That is why, very simply, you need to be following Greg and staying in tune with the Generation Mars podcast because it's really good stuff. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we return, we will talk about the week that Donald Trump had. And we'll close things up with Jason Stands for Truth and go over all the highlights and things that we could be very proud of that are happening with our president and the current administration. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back when we return. One of your favorite patriots on X, the very popular Jason Stands for Truth, will be joining me. Don't go anywhere. All right, so let's talk about a couple of these executive orders that Donald Trump has been signing. The newest being this post coming from Jack Unheard. So breaking Trump's new executive orders. So we're going to build an Iron Dome, remove transgender ideology from the military, ban critical race theory training. And what's our last one? Reinstate vaccine mandate discharges, which is what we were just talking about. So all of this coming at a press conference that Donald Trump just had in the past hour. So let's get a load of this.
And in a little while, I'll be signing 4 new executive orders. First is that I'm directing our new Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, who's going to be great, by the way. Thank you for the support. Thank you very much for the support. You really did support him greatly. I think he's going to be fantastic. I know him very well. I think he's going to be fantastic. He's what we need to immediately begin the construction of a state-of-the-art Iron Dome missile defense shield, which will be able to protect Americans. You know, we protect other countries, but we don't protect ourselves. And
if you smell what the Rock is cooking. The Rock says,
You're tuned in to Chris's World, a daily podcast covering the controversial topics of today through a conservative, patriotic lens. Tune in every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for Chris's World.
15th. Welcome back. Thanks for hanging out with us here live with Chris's World every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you like what you hear tonight, please share me out with a friend, family, coworker, anybody who enjoys America First content and current events, because that is what we cover on this show every night, Monday through Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I appreciate you being here. We are going to wrap things up with the last couple of segments, and I have a great guest joining me, an awesome friend of mine, the president of Free Voice Media. A lot of things coming in the future with Free Voice Media. Of course, we've got the newsletter, the TikTok. We started up a month ago, already almost 70,000 followers today, just in a month. So if you're on TikTok, visit Free Voice Media. We've been blowing up there on TikTok, but a lot of things in the future coming with Free Voice Media. Glad to call this guy a great friend of mine, and he's an awesome patriot. If you don't know him, you're going to get to know him here tonight. We're bringing in Jason Stands for Truth. Yeah, I saw you back there. I saw you back there throwing the ones up. For any of our WWE fans, you recognize the transition videos. Of course, the great OTC Roman Reigns with the intro, with the transition sound there. So, Jason, thanks for coming back on, my friend. Great to have you. Your account really is one of the fastest growing accounts on X. Let's see where you're at today. 135,000 followers. Brother, what's going on? Tell us about how you've been.
I'm doing good. Counterpoint is my Tuesday weekly show. It's like your podcast, but it's a 4-hour show on Tuesday nights. It's a space. It's a space, and a lot of spaces are all the same, and mine's not. We run clips. We talk about them. People listen to the clips, and we talk about them. I have a panel of people that are on there. It's amazing, an amazing team. But I'm going to tell you guys, Counterpoint had a record in attendance last Tuesday because people want the truth. We had over 800, almost 800 people come into the space in the 4-hour show. And at one point we had 150 people listening in. For me, that's huge. And I'm like, I feel so blessed for that. And that is a huge thing, which will be a part of Free Voice Media in the future, like spaces and stuff. And since I kind of have an angle on that, that'll help us with our Free Voice Media stuff. But yeah, Counterpoint has blown up, and I'm pretty excited about it. It takes a lot of work. Mondays and Tuesdays, I'm all like, I have a team of people, and I'm like throwing videos at them, and we're getting ready, and we have to get them in order so we can play them, because we play 3 different segments during the show, and then we talk about them, and then we close with a Paul Harvey, and I give my panel closing thoughts, and then we close in prayer. And we do that every week, and I cannot believe, like, I'm so humbly honored to say that show is, I think it's going to start exploding on X, and I just want to stay humble with it. So
I know it will. And like you said, people want authenticity, people want truth, and that is what they get when they go to Counterpoints on Tuesday night. No doubt about it. I love watching your success and seeing your growth. Couldn't happen to a better guy. And you are somebody who, it's rare that you find people like yourself, like me as well, doing it for the right reasons, just doing it because you love to do it, right? So that's what it is. Jason, let me talk about some.
Let's be honest. For one, I love Chris so much. Like, we have a good friendship. Sometimes we get busy and we don't talk for a couple days, or even a week sometimes, and I'll text him, and then he'll call me and be like, "What's up, brother?" And we'll just start talking. It's like we haven't, So I just want to say that the authenticity means a lot to me as well. So I really value this friendship.
That's what it's about, bro. Meeting people, doing good work. So look, Donald Trump has had a lot of success this week. Let's cover some of these highlights here, Jason. So
let's do it.
Key takeaways from this is just Trump's press conference today alone. So he'll be looking at the IRS, car tariffs coming soon. Would love to have Russia back in G7. Elon Musk's Doge is doing a great job. Deadline to ban TikTok could be extended. Taiwan took our chip business. We want it back. Not concerned about countries shifting business to China. Wants to talk on military spending cuts with Russia and China. No need for producing or stockpiling new nuclear weapons. BRICS nations playing with the dollar could face more than 100% tariffs. I don't know where to start here, Jason, so I'll let you pretty much pick. What do you see on this list where you're like, yeah, that stands out to me?
Well, I think equal tariffs with other countries is probably very important. And the left is complaining about that too. Excuse me, but we've been getting ripped off, and Trump is correct. So equally tariffing another country for products and goods is only fair, right? I mean, come on, like that's ridiculous. So I think that that's huge. Of course, RFK getting finally getting in today, and if you saw that interview, if you saw Trump talk about him a little and RFK, look, America needs to be healthier, and I have a health journey, and maybe one time, Chris, you can have me on your show just about that alone, where I actually went through some health stuff. So RFK getting in is huge. Like what's in our food matters. Like people are addicted to some foods they probably don't need to be addicted to. Snacking is not good for you, but we've gone from the 70s when people didn't snack all the time to obesity and snacking now, and people wonder why we have cancer and stuff. And so RFK has a point. He's like, I'm not trying to.
But Jason, you could look at the color difference between Fruit Loops in Europe and Fruit Loops in the United States. Guys, it's a very quick Google search. Google it's Fruit Loops, Europe versus US. You're going to be like, wait, what? And all of that are chemicals poisoning the food out of us. I didn't mean to.
Exactly. No, it's okay. I'm that's what we want. He came in to say, I'm gonna expose what is going on. Now, obviously, we all agree as Americans. I mean, hey, if you want to eat a bunch of Twinkies and get fat and die sooner, or let your heart, that's fine. That's not a big deal. That's not what RFK is there to do. But the left wants to say he's going to take this away. He's going to take your vaccines away. No, he's actually just trying to inform you so that if you're sick, you can say, oh, maybe I should stop eating that, and you can reverse your health issues that you're having, and turn back around and get healthy. That's what I think that's what I think he's doing. It's not to tell you what you can and can't do. So to me, that was one of the biggest. Oh, and Tulsi Gabbard getting in. I know we didn't talk about that yet, but you're talking about all the wins this week. Her getting in, RFK getting in. Obviously, we're waiting on Kash Patel and some of these things that you listed.
He got out of committee, which is very good. I want to bring up another win that we haven't really mentioned yet. I touched it early on in the show. But you're a guy who you've talked about this topic a lot, the conflict, the war with Ukraine and Russia. This is something we've been discussing for years now. So we get this. I want to get your thoughts. Great talks with Russia and Ukraine yesterday. Good possibility of ending that horrible, very bloody war. But Jason, before you go, I just want to add this. Liberals, the left-wing media is attacking Donald Trump for reaching out to Putin or having a phone call with Putin and then going to Zelensky after. But Trump has already met with Putin, with Zelensky several times and had several phone calls with Zelensky over the last couple of months. So he knows where Zelensky stands with this whole conflict. He hasn't talked to Putin. Obviously, you're going to pick up the phone, call Putin first because you know where Zelensky stands. But the left isn't framing it that way. The left frames it as if Donald Trump went to Putin because they're pals and then went to Zelensky next, telling him how it's going to be. That is not the case. So I want to correct anybody who might be viewing it out of that lens. That is not correct at all. Zelensky and Trump have been in contact. They've been talking, and that's why he went to Putin, to see where Putin stands. But all right, I'm done. Your whole thoughts on this thing.
So I'm sending you right now a post that you can look at and maybe put up on the screen if you want. It's in your DMs on X. I posted this last night. You're right. They're having a cow. No war is good. They're complaining that Trump's talking to Russia, right? They're complaining about that. They're saying, oh, look, he's friends with Russia and he's not friends and he's not our ally, Ukraine. One, Ukraine is not our ally. We've been giving them money over and over again, and we need to stop doing that. We're like funneling money to them.
Democracy either.
Exactly. So Adam Schiff called out on that post, and I'm just going to read it for you, and then you can read what I said, Chris. Today, President Trump called our enemy Russia before calling our ally Ukraine, just like you were talking about, Chris. Meanwhile, his Secretary of Defense ruled out a future for Ukraine and NATO and the restoration of Ukraine's sovereignty over its own lands. Let's not mince words about what this represents. A surrender of Ukraine's interests to our own even before negotiations begin. Trump is a great deal maker, all right, for the Kremlin. So you can see my response, and I'll let you read it, Chris, just so you could give them a different,
Both countries don't matter. Ukraine is not an ally either. The money laundering is going to stop, and that is exactly what you've been. So the argument that they make is, oh, well, we're trying to preserve democracy. We're trying to preserve democracy, but then you've got a president, Zelensky, that pauses the election and doesn't allow his country to continue letting him lead them through what is the worst time that they have ever faced. So that's fucked up. That's corrupt. That is not a democracy. And additionally, of course, look, I'm not going to sit here and defend Russia, right? They're a dictatorship. They're coming. We get that. We get that.
Yeah, exactly.
But in World War II, they had our backs. We had their back. Why are we actually calling Russia our enemy, though?
Right. Well, none of them are our friends.
I'm not saying that they're our friends, but are they our enemy either? Not really. What have they actually done? We have seen people do far worse to us, and we don't call them our enemy.
Right. Well, and that's the great thing about Donald Trump is he wants people. The left has a cow about Trump meeting with even the fat guy in Korea, right? Back in the day, and they're having a cow about it, and he's like, he's a good guy, and they're like, oh, he called him a good guy. Look, do you know that peace through strength means you go and you let them know, hey, I see what you're doing. Let's negotiate and make a deal here. Let's not let this get out of hand. Trump basically is that, basically I always say, Daddy's here. I'm watching over you. Let's talk. And so it is negotiating, like you're saying. It doesn't mean Trump and Putin are like going out to dinner and having a good time. That's not, no. It means Trump has to stop this, and he's going to first talk to Putin, because I think Putin will listen to him more. If you heard Zelensky, who is like, oh no, we're not giving up our lands. I don't want to, this war will end when I say it ends. Well, then that's a little stupid. And you block people from voting you out because you stopped elections in Ukraine. So it's a whole scenario where Trump's got to work with both of them, and he's talking to Putin first, because I think Putin's coming to him first, because Zelensky's probably upset that he's not getting any more money. And if you saw last week, 58% of the funds are missing that were supposed to be going there.
And when I did that topic on air, Jason, I said, who do you trust? I don't know who to trust. And I have made a decision on that, by the way. For everybody who heard me discuss that 2 weeks ago about Zelensky missing roughly 50% of the money that was sent to him, and I told you I didn't know what to think and I don't know who to trust and this is all fucked up, blah, 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 blah. I've got a decision. Zelensky's a fucking liar. That money went to Ukraine and it was laundered elsewhere. We sent him that money and he either didn't correctly manage it or it was corrupt and fraudulently transferred elsewhere. He got that money. That is where I stand on the issue. Initially, of course, like I said, I'll admit it, I didn't really know what to think. I didn't know, well, there's always these kickbacks, the military industrial complex, so on and so forth. And there's no doubt that we give money to Ukraine and it comes back to us through the military industrial complex. That isn't part of the conversation that we're having when we come to Zelensky saying that he's actually missing funds. I believe he is a liar. That's my take. That's my take.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm saying, though, that we know the money in the first place wasn't supposed to go there and it was misplaced.
100%.
And so Donald Trump is trying to work with them, and Donald Trump's telling Zelensky, look, we're not giving you, there has to be, I think, didn't he say yesterday, there has to be some way that if we're giving you money, you are like, we're making a trade negotiation. This isn't about us giving you money and us not getting something for it.
That's
and
right.
I agree with that.
Transactional.
Yeah. Transactional, I think, right? Yeah. So I'm with you 100%. And I think that people, like the left, is having a cow over this. And I'm like, peace through strength. I hate these wars. I believe in, if somebody attacks me, I do believe in going and weeding out the problem. But I don't believe in letting these wars start. And since we are one of the most powerful countries in the nation, in the world, then we need to we need to stand up and say, you're going to do this or we're going to tariff you. Tariffs work. We had Iran, as Trump always says. They were poor when he left office, when he got ousted out of office. Let's just call it that, because he didn't leave office. He didn't get voted out.
Yeah, think about it like this too, and then I'm going to switch on to this last video. But in a universe with 400 billion suns, right? This is scary. If we're the only form of advanced biology and cognitive life forms, the ability to obtain, withstand, and repeat data. Like we're a very unique blend of biology as humans. But if we're all that it is in a universe of 400 million suns, 400 billion suns, Earth is it. Don't you worry that the leadership of Earth is going to fuck that up? What's scarier, that there's somebody out there and we don't know about them, or that we're the only ones? And then you have America, just to micro it down, is the most powerful country on the planet. So the leader of America is in charge of all of the souls in the whole universe. Out of 400 billion suns, we're such a unique blend of biology. And this is mismanaged. You're talking about like a colossal fuck up. Donald Trump is trying to get the world on the same page. He talked about denuclearizing the United States, China, and Russia, the three powerhouses. How could you not be on board with that? So it's like, and I'm not talking to you, Jason. Of course, I know you're on the same page.
Yeah, we are, of course.
Anyway, I thought that's an interesting take. So I want to talk to you about one last thing, Jason. Okay.
Sure.
You're in the state of Washington. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. You right north to you is the 51st state of Canada. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
So I want to talk to you a little bit about this.
Going with Canada, there was obviously a delay in implementing those tariffs.
I spoke to Governor Trudeau on numerous occasions, and we'll see what happens. But it just sets up so good for them. Look, the people would pay much less tax than they're paying right now. They'd have perfect military protection. They don't have any military protection because and you take a look at what's going on out there. You have Russian ships, you have China ships, you have.
Yeah, what he was going to say and held back from saying was they essentially mooch off of us and our defense. Because that's why Russia, dude, the amount of money that Canada puts into their military is significantly lower than all other countries.
Yeah.
Why is that? Because they know we got them. So why are we doing that? Canada, 51st state, your thoughts?
Well, perfect. One of my good friends, I've known him for about 20 years. We played Xbox Live together a lot. We still get online. That's how I met him. And he went through a lot of health things and stuff. He's from Canada. He was born and raised there. And liberals in Canada are freaking out. Conservatives in Canada are like, hell yeah, they all love Donald Trump. And they're like, do this, man. Make us the 51st state. And they're excited about it. And they're like, they're screwing with us. And Justin Trudeau, they're the conservatives in Canada, because there's a huge conservative population in Canada, just not in Ottawa, Toronto, Montreal, in these big cities where, just like in our United States, the liberal blue cities. And so Canada, definitely, they don't have the population we have. They have about 40 million people. I mean, we have triple that, right? And so we're really doing a lot for them. And so Donald Trump keeps talking about it because we are doing a lot for them. And they're trying to, I think, mooch off of us in a lot of ways.
30% of their GDP is exported to the United States. That they're very dependent on us, it just like everybody else. But Canada is very dependent on us.
Exactly. So I think in the long run, I don't think Canada will be the 51st state, but I think Trump will keep talking about it, and he should. He really needs to get them to work. And what this does for Canadians, to be honest, in my opinion, is it makes a lot of them, and this is just my opinion, but I feel like it actually gives them authority to finally get rid of a really, really radical leader and hopefully get somebody in there that's not as radical and starts working with them. And it starts to change them. They forced Justin Trudeau. He's going to resign. I don't know when, but my friend from Canada was, my friend,
Poilievre.
Yeah, my friend from Canada was back in December was like, oh, wow, man, we're never going to get rid of this guy. And then Trump comes in, and now Justin Trudeau is resigning. And I'm like, I said, bro, I told you. He was worried about our election, and I just knew it was going to be too big to rig, and it was. And so I was like, look, Americans don't stand up for this for too long. They will fight back. I just kept telling him because I believe. And so here we are. And I think that, go ahead.
No, nothing. I agree with you 100%. I mean, Trudeau has put a stain on his last name. Of course, his father, is somebody who is very well respected, and he has ruined that for his family's legacy. And hopefully this guy that comes in next, Pierre Poilievre or whatever it is, can do a much better job, because it doesn't do America any good to have a neighbor on its knees begging for help like a whimpering dog. So that's not something that we want out of Canada. We want Canada to be strong and healthy. But Justin Trudeau is not going to be the guy in the leadership to do that. So
thank God.
So Jason, real quick, Counterpoint live every Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Great space. I appreciate you, man, as always, for coming on the show and hanging out with me, brother.
Hey, no problem. And I know what we've talked about it. I'll be back more. I've missed y'all. I know we've been busy, but this show is important to me because, Chris, you're one of my best friends, and I appreciate you. So, and obviously, it's exciting what we're doing. I feel like we're growing, and we want to help people. We want to be the truth. I always say that Jason stands for truth is real truth and news. And that's what I provide. And if I make a mistake, I will correct it. It's just the way it is. I'm not going to be like, I'm not trying to grift. I'm trying to help people. And I think that's why people follow me and support me and subscribe to me and stuff, is because they want to support that. And I don't want to lie to any of you guys either. I just want to tell the truth. And sometimes it's good to bounce ideas off Chris. I'll be like, do you think this story is real or not? So we'll bounce ideas off of each other. And that works good. Thank you so much for having me on. And I look forward to just continuing to fight with you as we fight together.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I appreciate it too. Jason stands for truth, everybody. Thanks again, brother.
Thank you.
Great Patriot. Make sure you are following Jason Stands for Truth on X. His account really blowing up. 135,000 followers. 135,000 people. They can't be wrong. Make sure that you are following Jason Stands for Truth. Guys, what a show tonight. We had on Greg, of course. We had on Jason right there. We covered so much stuff. Live with Chris's World every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on X, Rumble, and now YouTube as well. I appreciate you for being here. Appreciate you for watching, following, sharing me out with any friends, family, coworkers, neighbors that enjoy America First content and current events through a conservative lens. So thank you for doing that. I'll catch up with you next Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. Have a great weekend, everybody. Be blessed.